Hi everybody, I'm back. I'm back with part 2 of the last video that I did. Let me just see if I can kind of straighten that out a little bit. Okay, so I'm back with part 2 of the last reading that I did. I've got that uploading right now. It's on cloning centers. So I was also asked to, apparently there's a rumor going around that the Queen's consciousness was simply skipped into a cloned body, and that she lives on. The consciousness of that person lives on. So I was asked to take a peek at that and see if that has any validity or not. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it probably doesn't have any validity because we have had 3 readings, I think, that have said the chains that bound us to that woman, to that woman and to that enslaved system were broken. And so they no longer exist. We've had a couple readings that said that, right? 2, 3, maybe even. And one, I didn't even ask on it because I didn't. That's what the universe kind of wanted to talk about. So I don't think that even if they did that, I don't think it holds any validity. But let's see. Let's see what Spirit wants to say to us, what my highest version of self, source energy, wants to tell us around that. So that's the question. This is part 2 of the cloning. We did the cloning centers a minute ago. And now the question is that I'm asking, was the Queen's consciousness transferred at the moment of her death into a cloned body, and does that consciousness live on in the physical, right? Because even if they didn't do that, her consciousness will live on. That we don't ever die. It's just that perhaps, depending on what her consciousness is, if it's like our consciousness lives on, and then we see things from a state of love rather than a state of ego, which we carry very deeply here on this earth. And we do need that ego. That ego is what tells us to not step out in front of a Mack truck. It's that ego that tells us that stuff, but it's also that ego that can be our worst enemy. So learning how to define when it's being our best friend and when it's being our worst enemy and isn't serving us and keeping us stuck is really important for our emotional health and our mental health and our spiritual growth. But I believe, in my humble opinion, when our consciousness leaves this body, I believe it goes back to being that best version of self, and is connected to all of that, which is the best version. So I don't know. If her essence is like ours, it would live on, but it would then be looking back at all of the nefarious things that she did and judging itself. That's in my humble opinion. And if her consciousness isn't like ours, who knows? Who knows what that consciousness is doing? But either way, it would continue on, right? So what we really want to know is not if the Queen's essence has lived on, but has her consciousness been put into a cloned body that is here in the physical world to live on, So that's what we're asking. All right. So we'll see. There's a series of questions that I was asked to ask around all of this stuff. I think there's that one, and then there's one more, and the one that I just did. So 3 questions around it. Okay, so let's take a peek and see what we get. So has the Queen's essence, her consciousness, been put into a physical body for her to live on, continue to live on here in the physical right now reality? She always comes up as the damn devil, you guys. It's just crazy. I'm going to say no, you guys. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm seeing in the cards, okay? So I believe through these cards that has probably been something that's happened before. So I believe that consciousness, by looking at these cards, has been held on to a few times in the past. In fact, you know, I would say, if we're going to be quite literal with these cards, I would say at least 4 generations, this consciousness has continued to, we'll call it body jump, right? Isn't there a movie? There's a movie from way back with Denzel Washington. And that thing would jump bodies, remember? So something like that. So I believe, according to these cards, I can't even believe that I'm getting these cards. So according to these cards, I would say that has happened in the past. They've held on to that consciousness, right? But above that, they're disappointed. They're disappointed. So it might have been the plan for them to continue with this moving her consciousness over and over and over again for what, thousands of years for all we know, right? But it looks like there's a lot of disappointment around this, so it wasn't able to go through this time. So I'd say in the past, yeah, that consciousness did move into other bodies. It would look that way to me. Crazy, right? We live in a world that's crazy. We just do. We live in a world that's crazy. So in the past, that has happened, but it looks like they're disappointed this time. It didn't get to happen. Across from that, there's been a lot of work on this entire thing to move us out of troubled water. So apparently, this is something that was known to happen. And it's something that a lot of work went into to stop from happening, which is why, you know, there's some disappointment around being able to hold on to that consciousness, that deity, whatever the fuck that is. Excuse my language, but whatever that is or was, there's some disappointment that they couldn't hang on to it. A lot of work went into that, and it's to move us out of troubled water. So again, you know, with that breaking those chains that bind, which is probably why the universe wanted to talk about this. Now, she keeps coming up as the devil, right? And every time I talk about this woman, this is the card we get, you guys. Makes sense. And the more we learn about her, the more it will probably make sense to us. I bet there's a lot of other things for us to bring into our consciousness about this woman that will make this card make even more sense as we go. So what's driving this whole reading is this woman, the chains that broke, bound. Her consciousness there's something new going on with her. Like I was saying, it's crossed over. And then we've got the Hermit card. So that's like the Heavens card to me. Okay, so the Hermit is like enlightenment. That's source energy. That's the heavens. So that woman died. Her consciousness has moved on to something new in the heavens. So that's what I'm getting. And that work went into making sure that when she crossed, this couldn't happen. And that's why they're disappointed. But it moved us, humanity, out of troubled water. So let's just clarify on this a little bit. I just had it in my head what I wanted to say and ask, and I kind of lost it. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask. So there was a time where Donald Trump had gone to the palace and met with her. We all know about it. He walked in front of her. He talked to her military, all of this stuff that mainstream media tried to make him into some jerk for heaven had done it, you know. But what he was doing was he was actually showing to all of us, right? It was an optic. We were being shown what, in a subtle way, what was actually happening. So, remember then she left the palace and hadn't been back since. And so what I want to know is, was she held in by spiritual people, like white hat, secret society, loving white light people? Was she held by the white hats, or whatever you want to call them, the alliance, or, you know, was she surrounded by those types of people so that when she crossed over, this black magic stuff couldn't happen? Is that how they went about doing it? And is that why that was considered work? So was the work to keep her from being able to do this, having to hold her to make sure that when she crossed, she couldn't have this ritual performed? So I'm going to ask off of the work that went into it. Okay, you guys? And we'll see what we get. We'll see what we get. I mean, this is a pretty interesting topic. So the reason why I'm reading on it is because if that's something that's going around, or that's something that has happened in the past, I feel like it might bring people relief, to know one way or the other. Just awareness is healing enough. Because if we'd have gotten a yes, she was still in the physical, we could all work together to manifest that we send her love, and that, you know, she was unable to come into power, that she wouldn't be able to continue nefarious deeds, right? We could focus on that, manifest that. And if we got that hadn't happened this time, then we could feel relief and celebration, and even a celebration for that consciousness even being released, so that maybe it can start healing. Because that's the whole point of death. Like, we get to heal our souls a bit. We reflect back on our life, and, you know, we judge ourselves, and we grow from there. And if you're always body jumping, you've had no chance to grow. And so you come in as the bad guy, and you stay the bad guy for 2,000 years, or however long they've been doing this with that soul, or whatever that is. That may not be a soul, for all I know. We don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll find out truth maybe someday around that, right? Okay, so what we want to know is, was that because they held on to her to keep the ritual from happening? Did they stop a ritual from happening upon her death? just cut these cards now that I've shuffled them all up and asked that question. We're going to go right off of the work card. Yeah, they kept an eye on her. They had her watching her every minute. They had her watching her every minute. Hyper focused on her. So that a ritual couldn't be performed. And, you know, create the celebration. Let me grab one more card. What have we got? The Hanged Man. Yep. So the Hanged Man is enlightenment, right? So, and also just kind of hanging there waiting. So they stayed hyper-focused on her and they celebrated upon her death. It was just it was waiting. They waited. You know, they waited. I don't know, but what they had her, you know, if she, with the Hanged Man, I don't know if, but what, they stayed hyper focused on her, right? So that couldn't happen. So that, you know, for the celebration for humanity, hyper focus on her. That's how they kept things good. And I don't know if maybe I don't know if she was like, I don't want to say the wrong words because of the platform that I'm using, but she may have been, this guy's called the Hanged Man. Perhaps she was put to, you know, maybe it wasn't that she got to sit around and then die naturally, but maybe she was actually put to, and they may have even done it in a way that would create a light celebration rather than a dark ritual. Does that make sense to you? Okay. So I think we got some good answers from that. So yeah, no, she, according to what I'm getting, she's not body jumped. And they kept her, she's moved on, you know, into the heavens. It's a brand new journey for that consciousness. And so they held on to her and made sure that didn't happen. They were hyper focused on her. So I want to ask, before we end this reading, because I feel like those couple of readings were a little bit, you know, they're not the, you know, learning the knowledge around both of those readings is important, and I feel like we gain something from that, right? So with that one, we gain that relief, and we can also, now that we know that her consciousness has gone on to the heavens, we can also send that consciousness love and healing to help transmute it, if that consciousness is accepting of it, right? And that would actually be good for all of us, and her, and this planet, and any other planet that consciousness might eventually, you know, end up on. So, I want to end, let's end with something positive. I'm going to put the Dolphin Mermaid card, I'm going to put those cards away, and I'm going to pull out the Dolphin Mermaid, and I'm going to ask that we get, I'm going to take 3 cards, something healing that we can all focus on, you guys. Something that will bring us all up, make us feel better. Like, what does the universe want to say to us through these beautiful Dolphin Mermaid Oracle deck cards that I have, that were a gift from a friend of mine. And I love them because they're beautiful. And, yeah, and I like pretty things. I just do. So let's take a peek. And I'm still trying to figure out, because the last question that she wanted me to ask around that whole cloning stuff had to do with with a person. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I feel about reading on that person and what would be a question that would do us some good, or I'm trying to figure that one out, you guys. So possibly come back with another reading about that person. But then there's boundaries and stuff. I'm trying to figure it out because like it doesn't seem like that person. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'll figure it out how to ask the question in a way that's respectful and see if the universe wants to answer it. So right now, we're going to end with 3 cards from the universe, 3 positive affirmations, something for us to focus on, what the universe wants to tell us, just something positive for us, okay? So let's see. We'll take 3 cards. What does the universe want to say? Oh. Okay, you guys. So the first card that we got is Alchemy. You have the Midas touch right now, and every project you begin turns to gold. So it's a good time. It's a good time to start a project, to do something, something focused, something good for you. It's saying it's energetically, it's a good time to do things. Any project you start will turn to gold, okay? You get the Midas touch. And then the next card that we got is Explore Your Options. It's time to look at other possibilities. It's a good time to make changes. So that goes hand in hand with this one, with the Alchemy, get the Midas touch. So explore your options, make some changes, do some things that are good for you. If you've been craving to do something different, do it. This is a great time. You get the Midas touch, okay? And then the third one is, you guys, it's tranquility. And it's make time to relax, be still, and enjoy your solitude, indulging in much needed self-care. And I think that's the best one of all, honestly, because this is quite a time that we're living through, and it's been a really stressful couple of years, almost 3 years, and it's been designed to be that way. It's been designed to keep people in fight or flight, trauma-ridden. I mean, it's been designed to be that way. So even if you're knowledgeable of like truths and you've been digging down rabbit holes, that's stressful. And if you aren't knowledgeable of those things and you're buying everything they're feeding you on the mainstream media, that's stressful. So take time to self-care. We all need to self-care from time to time. Take a bubble bath, go for a hike, sit on the ground, go to the beach, walk in the water, take a walk in the woods. Do something that for you feels comforting, nurturing, loving, and self-caring. Okay, you guys? So I hope that you found some value in that. The consciousness has moved on to a very new beginning up in the heavens. So that's what I'm getting anyway, you guys. So I would say don't worry about that consciousness being in another body. And even if you don't trust what we just got in the cards, remember that the cards that we've been getting right along keep saying that the ties that bind ended. That it ended. We don't need to worry about that anymore. So whatever you choose to believe or whatever, I mean, this is what I'm getting in the cards. I hope that you found a little value, some comfort, some healing in that. And until next time, you guys, make sure you do a lot of self-care. And I will see you next time. Many, many blessings. Much love. Be happy. That song just popped into my head. Don't worry. Be happy. Be happy now. Do that. Do that. Lift your vibration. Take care of yourself. Give yourself some much needed love and self-care. All right. Until next time, you guys. Many blessings. Much love from me to all of you. Okay. Take care.